Hi there, Bill Nissen again, and we are asking questions because questions reveal answers that give us reasons to get out of bed. And this question that I received was one that was kind of hard to hear, but it was true. It was a great question. It said, Bill, if you've really been just devout and really given your life to walking with God, then why hasn't everything worked out beautifully for you? Now, I know it sounds kind of bad, like, everything's been miserable. No, it's not been that bad. It's just not everything's worked out. Not everything that I planned on worked out the way that I expected it to. I've never met anybody that it has. But it's a good question, because I think we have a false view of what walking in faith looks like. Because you see some of these people with big hair that doesn't move, on TV and big arenas and big teeth and nice suits, and they're telling you everything's just going to be rosy and warm and fuzzy, and if you just believe in Jesus, everything's going to work out. And the funny thing about that is the message is true, but we have in our lens something different. We think that means we're going to get all our car payments taken care of, we're going to have 2.5 kids and white picket fence, everything's going to work out that way, when really that message is about our heart, our soul, if we are trusting in Christ. Now, setting all that aside, life happens. And there was one day life happened, and when I first got up, first thing I got was a notification from my bank that I had identity theft, and so I had to cut up all my cards, and so I'm like, how am I going to do any spending and purchasing that I need to do for the next few days until that gets fixed? So that was an irritation. And then I found out a friend, that somebody I thought was a friend, betrayed me and was saying terrible things behind my back to somebody else. That was right about lunchtime. And then I found out somebody that I loved passed away that afternoon, and I was just undone. I'm like, I should have stayed in bed. And our theme was to get out of your bed, right? I should have stayed in bed that day, and it was just an awful day. Abandonment, violation, loss, all in one day. And I started the day by reading my Bible and praying and doing all the right stuff I'm supposed to do. Well, I can tell you what, I prayed that night too. I was driving down this main thoroughfare in my hometown, and this is something I do quite often. Driving in my car is some of my best times with God, because I can yell at him. I can just chew him out. And nobody's going to get mad at me because they don't know I'm doing it. They might think I'm rocking out to some rock song or something on the radio, but I'm actually yelling at God. And I just had it. It was just a terrible day. And I was letting him know how bad it was and what in the world was he thinking, and the works. I was laying it all out there. And he talked back. And he wasn't upset, and that's the thing I know. I love the relationship I have with him, because I know that, he can handle it. I don't have to dress things up in King James English and oh thee and thou and glorious. And none of that. I just go, hey, dude, Dad, this is my day. Thanks a lot. And he responded back and he said, you always want it to be sunny, don't you? I went, it wouldn't hurt. I could use a tan. I'm sick of this. And he wasn't mad, but just in my mind, he spoke to my heart and said this. He goes, you know what they call it when it is sunny all the time? I'm thinking about it. I'm going, no. He said, they call it a drought. So think about that. We want it to be wonderful and perfect all the time. But that's when everything dies. Nothing gets watered. All the plants shrivel up and die because they aren't getting what they need. And if everything that was planned for your life was going to be roses and unicorns, then you would not get what you need either. You need some resistance to strengthen your roots. You need some things to come at you in order for you to really understand what you truly believe. And that's something I really got instantly as soon as he said that. But we spend billions, if not trillions of dollars every year on insurance policies and on different things in order to avoid having bad things happen, in order to avoid the things that will cause us to grow. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you not to have insurance policies, that there's wisdom there, but I'm just saying our whole mindset is to avoid the trials of life that actually cause us to grow. If everything was pristine and never was disrupted, we'd lead a pretty boring life. Think about it. Do you go to a movie theater, pay your money to watch people sitting in their living room just having a great old time and chatting and wonderful? And no. If you went there for 90 minutes, you'd walk out within 10 to 15 minutes because you go, there's nothing going on. My wife used to tell me, she's an author, she used to tell me that the trick to a good book was to create a good strong hero or heroine and then scare them up a tree and throw rocks at them. And really that's what you see, like with the old movies like Die Hard and different ones like that, where they got to overcome this obstacle and that obstacle in order to defeat the bad guy. And the only thing that's false there is their conclusions come within 90 minutes to 2 hours. I just got to tell you right now, some of these bad days are going to last a little longer than that. But what I do know is there's an end to that movie. And that is when he comes on his white horse. He brings us all together. At the end of that book, we win. But that book's a little longer than 90 minutes or 2 hours. There's going to be struggles in life. And it won't necessarily always work out in this life. That's one thing I really enjoyed. There was a musician that I knew a few years back, and he took a step of faith and created a worship room in his house. And everybody else that he's around were making 3-year plans, 5-year plans, 10-year plans. And they looked at him funny because all he was doing was worshiping. And it worked out well for him. He became fairly well known, was traveling and things. And one time a leader was introducing him and said, we just love the faith walk of this young man because look how it all worked out. And I loved how blunt this young man was. He said, hold on a minute. Whether it worked out or not, what I did in creating this worship room and worshiping was God. Not because it worked out, but because he told me to do it. And we see that in the book of Hebrews. It says all of these people walked in faith and never received the promise until that point, which is the whole purpose of the book of Hebrews. Then the promise was being received through Christ. But they had walked their entire life on the earth without ever seeing it fulfilled. And they were people of faith. We can't stand sitting in a fast food line for more than 5 minutes without getting frustrated. Are we willing to stay true to the things that we know and believe, whether or not it works out? Knowing that through the trials, through the struggles, we're growing because we're getting the rain that causes our roots to grow deep, thick, and strong. So I don't want it to be sunny all the time anymore. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy the days that are. But I don't want a drought. I want to grow. So let me pray for you on this one, because this one's kind of a hard message, because it's like we want the warm, fuzzy, it's sunny day messages. But if you want to grow, we need to mix that sun with some clouds. And so, Lord, I just pray for each one here that you would give us the vision that you want us to apprehend, that would allow us to press through the good days and those hard days, so we can have the rain that'll cause us to grow and be firmly rooted in the things you put in our heart. And I ask, Lord, that you would reveal the vision you have for each one of these people so they can own it. You have an amazing day, and I pray that the clouds won't last that long. But we'll talk to you soon.